Hello, travelers. After 49 years in a wheelchair and traveling to 5 continents and almost 40 countries, I'm here today to share my experience when it comes to travel. The first and most important tip, get out there and have some fun. The world's a big, fun place. Over the next few minutes, I'll cover equipment, packing guides, hotels, restaurant tips to make your travel more fun. Everyone seems to select different equipment options, but if you travel frequently, you'll need to deal with airplanes, taxis, narrow bathroom doors, and some small old elevators, and many third parties picking up your wheelchair. So I have several recommendations. First, if you can, travel with a lightweight folding wheelchair. My Quickie chair is 24.5 inches wide with no camber to the wheels. Second, it helps to have parts that are easily and quickly detachable and wheels that easily pop off. Third, for me, an inexpensive suitcase carrier extension that attaches to the footrest is a must. And for potential theft reasons, I don't like knapsacks that go in the back of my wheelchair. Fourth, talk to your healthcare provider and select a good seat cushion. These days I always sit on my ride cushion, including plane flights, whether 2 hours or 10 hours. And I pack a Roho cushion, patch kit, and pump if I expect to sit in a car for any extended period of time. And don't forget the spare cushion cover. Fifth, I travel with airless tires. You don't want a flat tire when traveling. 6, I carry an extra axle and lightweight set of wheelchair fix-it tools. And 7th, before you leave, make sure your wheelchair is properly adjusted and the brakes are tight. I only travel with bags and suitcases that I can carry, so I suggest making a detailed list and then packing efficiently. The most important item is medical supplies. You're generally not going to find critical items on short notice, weekends, or a foreign country. Carry a travel bag with any emergency items you may need for a couple days. Include any medication prescriptions, medical supplies, and a cell phone. When preparing and packing for a plane trip, be thoughtful. Never check a bag, prescription, or medical supply to the airline cargo that you can't live without. Regarding airlines, trust me, no aircraft, even the dual-aisle Dreamliner, offers an accessible lavatory, so you might plan differently for a 2-hour flight versus a 5 or 10-hour flight. And I rarely eat or drink for several hours prior to a flight. It may not be the healthiest, but for me, it's critical. Another must are those big black hefty bags. I carry one bag per flight. Take off all your detachable wheelchair parts, place them in the bag, and ask the flight attendant to put them in the overhead compartment. Never put them in the airline cargo area. Also pack cranberry pills, prescription antibiotics for any unexpected urinary tract infection, and a mirror to check pressure sores. For longer trips, you might also pack a limited kit to effectively treat a pressure sore, including treatment ointment such as Santyl and treatment bandages such as Tegaderm foam adhesives. Hotels in the U.S. all know about wheelchair accessibility and ADA, but I'm really careful about asking questions up front. Here are some of the areas to consider before booking a room. There are many hotels built on very steep hills or built into the side of a mountain. It can be dangerous just getting out of your vehicle or going to and from the lobby. And make sure there are no entry steps or public hotel areas you can't access. And I really hate those small hydraulic lifts installed at many hotels. The lifts generally require a separate key and often take a third party to operate, which can take an extra 15 to 30 minutes. These hotels may then be called ADA compliant, but they're horribly inconvenient. It seems like the new fashion trend is to have beds that sit up an extra 4 to 12 inches, making transferring up into the bed dangerous. And I always book directly with the hotel front desk because online reservations, including search engines like Expedia and big chain hotel call centers, cannot confirm an accessible room or block a room. And I always get a confirming email and call 24 or 48 hours prior to confirm the accessible room. Prior to 2010, there were no industry standards for a rolling shower in an accessible guest room. At least 50% of the rolling showers I visit are empty stalls or have flimsy, removable plastic seats, which are just dangerous. So ask up front. When I travel, I appreciate an accessible restroom on the lobby level and a nearby restaurant where I can get dinner after a long travel day without getting back in the car. For those traveling on a tight budget, I'd suggest avoiding the chains like Travelodge and America's Best, who just don't care about disabled travelers. Our website includes many accessible budget hotels. They generally have a WJAR3 rating. When traveling internationally, the term ADA is not used or understood. So have your travel agent book a wheelchair accessible guest room with a wheelchair accessible bathroom. And the large international hotels have far fewer accessible guest rooms. So book early and be clear. Let me simply say that despite what city government says, there are very few regulations covering accessibility and accessible restrooms in restaurants. In cities like New York, Boston, and Chicago, many restaurants are located in old buildings that are with multiple steps up or down and restrooms that are not accessible. So, just call in advance and then don't worry about it. Have fun. So be cautious with third parties handling your wheelchair. This includes airport handlers, taxi drivers, cruise ship personnel, anyone. They are not always as well trained as you'd like and can be rough on your wheelchair. Many third parties try to help and inadvertently yank or push the wheelchair up or down the stairs or over cobblestones, and it's easy to break an axle or twist a front wheel fork. So just take it easy, be slow, protect the wheelchair. Let me close with a few additional travel suggestions. And remember, everyone's unique and should consult with their own private healthcare provider. First, watch your diet and liquids carefully, especially when traveling. I always drink a lot of water, but timing is important and there's not always an accessible restroom. Plan your day trips well. Second, for long flights, consider investing in a couple pair of pressure stockings to minimize foot and leg swelling. And third, if you can, I'd suggest giving up camping. The geography and the restrooms are not always the best for wheelchairs. Overall, it's just about planning well. So pack your bags, make your reservations, and get out there and see the world. Don't worry about the challenges. You'll have a great time. The fun never ends.